Hi all! For this Trek Factoid we're looking at one of the Federation's best kept secrets, Omega. Restricted to the highest levels of the Federation and Starfleet personnel, of Captain and above, the Omega Directive supersedes everything, even the Prime Directive, Starfleet's non-interference policy. The United Federation of Planets' first exposure to the Omega particle was around 2268 when the theorised substance became the life work of one Dr. Bendes Keteract. He had speculated of the existence of this energetic little element that in theory contained the same energy supplied by a warp core. Such a particle couldn't exist in our universe in its current state, and he even believed that it was present at the Big Bang, the creation of the universe. You see, these particles destabilise very quickly, and when they do so with an explosive release of energy. Not only is this an explosion akin to a warp core breach, but the resulting energies rip through subspace and destroy this extra spectrum. The end result is that faster than light of any kind winds up impossible in the exposed sectors. This means no warp travel and no real-time communications across this area of space, throwing exploration back several hundred years. It is still unknown if this damage can ever be reversed. 127 Federation scientists, including Keteract, were working on creating this molecule in a sanctioned secret starbase in the Lantaru sector. They succeeded. For less than a second. They produced a single Omega molecule. Then it destabilised and destroyed large segments of the facility and caused subnucleonic radiation to be spread over the area. The worst effect, however, was the unexpected. The explosion ripped through subspace from the point of origin, and by the time the explosion dissipated, the subspace ruptures and destroyed areas had affected 7 light-years of subspace around the installation. If anyone wanted to reach the Lantaru starbase now, it would take over 7 years of conventional sublight or impulse speeds. The Federation immediately outlawed the creation of Omega and suppressed its existence. They deemed it too great a threat to be ignored from even other cultures and decreed that it must never be allowed to be synthesized again. No Federation member may experiment with creating Omega, and the Lantaru sector was explained as a naturally unstable area of space. All captains of Starfleet, those out there in the deep space and most likely to encounter the new and unknown, were briefed on the true events of Lantaru, and the Omega Directive was born. It was built into Starship computer software under encrypted files Omega-1. Upon detection of Omega, a Federation starship would lock all systems and bring the ship to a stop and await the captain's attention, displaying the Omega letter. I find it unlikely that such a drastic reaction would be triggered if the starship were occupied in an emergency, but the primary function of this seems to be to isolate any sensor data that could be glimpsed by the crew, and prevent them from stumbling into further danger. In private, the captain would then receive a computer-compiled brief of the Omega event in question, and then be asked to notify Starfleet Command via encrypted channels, and all information and logs shipside would also be encrypted. A specialised team would then be dispatched to confirm the molecule's presence and destroy them. This team would be using radiation meds, insulation and specific shield technology to keep themselves safe. A specialised gravimetric torpedo could create a reaction in a way where the molecules would be destroyed without detonation, and was the preferred method of elimination. From the name, it sounds like this torpedo was designed to create a sort of gravity well or pocket to contain any subspace effects, but that's just speculation based on the term gravimetrics as used in Star Trek. Any research data concerning Omega was also seized and destroyed. The only time we see it implemented in the show, however, was in the unfortunate circumstance of the USS Voyager, which was still in the middle of the Delta Quadrant and far beyond any specialised Starfleet disposal teams. As such, Captain Janeway followed the directive as best she could, but had to improvise and share knowledge of Omega with her senior staff as well as the former Borg drone 7 of 9. Using the shared knowledge of the Borg's own experiments on Omega, which had begun in 2145 when they assimilated a species with knowledge of the particle, the crew eliminated a substantial amount of Omega molecules using a harmonic resonance chamber. The production of Omega can be synthesized through the use of boromite, though the process is never detailed for two reasons. One, it probably defies all sorts of real-world physics, but that's not important. And two, the Federation does everything in its power to prevent the spread of this knowledge. If enough Omega molecules are produced in one go and kept stable for enough time, however, they will align themselves into a stabilization form that keeps them from exploding, as witnessed by 7 of 9. This arguably makes Omega an even more tempting prize, as now it is confirmed to be harnessable. It's one hell of a gamble though, all or nothing. Either you create enough Omega to self-stabilize and you have yourself a near infinite energy source, even then maybe not for eternity, or you blow up a quadrant and return the galaxy to a pre-warp state. Forever. The simulations performed by 7 of 9 suggest that artificial stabilization would work, and the maths checks out, but if there was even a chance that the science behind it was wrong, then the resulting destruction would be galaxy changing. Thanks for watching this explanation of the Omega Directive and the importance with which Starfleet places control of this substance. Until the next video, I'll see you later, if Starfleet intelligence don't track me down for leaking this information first. Goodbye.